All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. Let me know, can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear the music? Is it too loud? Is it good? And thank you all for joining. What's up, Blue Dong? Good to see you in here again, man. What's up, Peter, Anthony? How you guys doing? Thank you guys for joining. And we are going to get into some exciting stuff that we could be looking forward to over the next couple of weeks here. Bitcoin is ranging, giving an opportunity for the altcoins to pump, and I do think this altcoin rally will continue, and I do think that we have some exciting trade opportunities with us this week. So welcome in, everybody, and let's just go ahead and talk about Bitcoin here and what Bitcoin is doing and why Bitcoin is doing this. We are at key resistance on Bitcoin. You know, if we go ahead, let me turn off some of these local things on the chart, and we will talk about why Bitcoin is stalling out a little bit here and starting to form a range. So if we zoom out onto our 2-day chart, you guys can see that we are at a very, very key spot in the market. This Fibonacci channel has been our trend for the entire bull market. And the pink channel is the main channel. And then, of course, these are the Fibonacci extinctions off of that channel. And after forming an all-time high in a range from early November through February, in our all-time high range here, we broke back down into that channel and pretty much retraced to the midline, which you can see that midline historically has acted as support throughout most of the bull run. Once we flipped it, it has been acting as support for most of the bull run here. And after holding that as support, we are breaking up to test the breakout of this main channel again. And so the last time we tested it was back in May. We did reject from that area and saw a, $10,000 plus dump to the downside, a corrective dump to the downside, but we are back up at this general area of resistance now. And if you look here, let me go ahead and I know this chart looks really small, so let me zoom in on this here. You can see that we really haven't been able to sustain price action above this Fibonacci channel. So let's zoom in on some lower time frames. We'll go on to the 4-hour chart here. And after attempting to break above it over the weekend, this was our weekend range here where my cursor is at. And then we busted up come late Sunday and into Monday, saw one last push up to make new all-time highs. And then we kind of been flirting around with this area. But we're creating a range. And what you often see around these bigger levels of resistance or even bigger levels of support is that a range forms on lower time frames, giving the market a little bit of opportunity to see whether the momentum to the upside is going to continue or if we're going to lose this momentum and see a bigger correction to the downside. And right now, I have to say that Bitcoin looks pretty good. Like, if we still look at all of our momentum indicators here, you can see money flow is still looking very, very healthy here. Now, that 4-hour bearish div that we had here did give us a little bit of a move down, but that 4-hour div is played out and the money flow is now rising to the upside again. You can see that our momentum is coming back to the upside. So Bitcoin is seeing a bit of a push up here today. And this range is important for Bitcoin because as long as Bitcoin can continue to range here, it doesn't mean that a lot of money is pouring into Bitcoin right now, because we do know a lot of money pours into Bitcoin when it pumps. But as long as we're ranging here, it's going to give an opportunity for the altcoins to pump. And the altcoins were at some very key bear market support levels, much, much lower than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at all-time highs, and almost no alt out there is near all-time highs. And if we go ahead and come to our Bitcoin dominance chart, we are seeing some very, very key things on this Bitcoin dominance chart. We had this ascending channel that has been our trend all the way, going back all the way to March of 2023. You can see here, and it has been really for the almost practically the entire bull market. Bitcoin has been the focal point of this bull market. You know, with dominance slowly getting higher and higher, more money out of the entire crypto ecosystem has been pouring into Bitcoin rather than the altcoins. But a couple weeks ago, actually about a month ago, in May, we saw the hit into the top of our trend, and we were expecting a big dump from that. We got that dump to the midline. Well, the midline ended up holding, and then we made a push up to make new highs just barely, almost like a liquidity grab, even though this isn't, you know, money being traded, so it's not a liquidity grab per se, but it's the same kind of psychology as far as trading goes. And then we are dumping, and what is happening here is we are losing our point of control, and we are losing our key midline here. And if we lose this midline, you can see we've lost this midline, not only just barely dipping below it like we did the last time, but we are seeing a volume follow through to the downside here with a big 2-day candle follow through to the downside. And even if we zoom in onto the daily chart, you can see we have closed that daily candle far below that midline. And so we are hitting into some local support. We had this support marked out on the charts. Let me see, did I delete that yesterday? Let me just go ahead and pull that support level. There we go. If we take a Fibonacci from our last lows on the daily to our highs, and we turn on that 786 level, you can see that we're right about that 786 level. Now we're starting to lose it today, which to me is a good sign. It means that dominance is probably going to continue dropping. We're probably going to at least take out the lows in these lows here, but I expect us to, you know, continue dropping to the bottom of the channel. And if our overall trend in Bitcoin dominance since 2023 is going to continue, then we might see a nice bounce at the bottom of the channel and for dominance to start picking up again. But while that is happening, while this drop is happening in dominance, it's going to allow some of that money that has been in Bitcoin while Bitcoin is at all-time highs to now rotate into other coins in the market. And we know how the cycle works. If you guys were around in 2020, 2021, we know that first Bitcoin pumps, then the money flows into Ethereum, and then Ethereum pumps. Like, look at Ethereum's pump over the last week here. And then it comes into the high cap alts, and then it rotates into lower cap alts, and even like meme coins. So we are starting to see that rotation into alt season, which gives us a lot of good opportunity for us to trade these altcoins and make these a short term. As a trader, it's a paradise because we are not buying on spot a lot. We are trading small moves in the market. We don't care if the market goes up or down. We're looking for trade setups in order to scrape money out of the market. And this volatility that we're seeing on altcoins is a really great opportunity for us to take advantage of these shorter term moves that happen in the market that might only be a couple months or so, but it allows us to really build our portfolio if we play this right. So going back to Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin is just ranging. Let's go ahead and go back onto the 2-hour chart here. Bitcoin is just ranging within this range, and we can obviously pull a volume profile for that range. We do have some local levels on the chart. We have our volume profile. This goes back to last Thursday. So we've been in this range for about a week now. If we look at our local range, we're breaking the value area high to the upside. We're also breaking above that Fibonacci channel again. And there is a potential, I did talk about this yesterday in my YouTube video, but if we turn on that golden pocket retracement just from the all-time highs down to our first correction lows, or I guess we could call it the range lows now. You can see that golden pocket was just barely front run yesterday before we got a drop to the POC. We held the POC. Now we're coming up to that golden pocket again. And I would like to say it's really the golden pocket 786 area is the area where we should be looking for a potential rejection if Bitcoin is going to continue this bigger three-wave corrective move to the downside. We do have to remember that the overall push up on Bitcoin, this impulse up on Bitcoin, is potentially not completed yet. And we do need more time for this to increase in higher prices for this to complete. So from our lows at 98.3K, which by the way was a key midline that we did bounce from. Let me get rid of this brushes here. It was a key pitchfork midline that we bounced from, having nice buyers step in. But from this general area, we were expecting a possible push up to new all-time highs. And if we look at our structure so far, we could count this as a double 1-2 impulse, with that being a 1-2, 1-2 here, pushing up in our third wave all the way up to our new all-time highs. And after your third wave ends, you're looking, because we had 2 1-2s here, we're looking for 2 4-5s at the top. And that is going to be that kind of corrective slowing down price action that you often see when an impulse is kind of losing steam and about to reverse. So if we look at this impulse yet, it is not completed. And we are expecting, if this was the end of the third wave, which it's highly probable that that was the end of the third wave. And why is it highly probable? Because if we take our trend-based Fibonacci extinction from the lows of wave 1 to the highs of wave 1 to the lows of wave 2, our first one to our primary wave 2, not our secondary wave 2, you can see, where does that 1.618 come in? It is exactly where we rejected at the top. And oftentimes we know that the third wave pumps to the 1.618 Fibonacci extinction target. That is a common target area for that third wave to end. We ended exactly on it. This does give me a higher probability that this impulse is a true impulse that is going to continue to complete. And after you finish your third wave, we now are looking for a bigger three-wave move down in a wave 4, before pushing up again, making new all-time highs in a wave 5, and then another three-wave corrective move in a second wave 4, in your secondary wave 4, before pushing up in your secondary wave 5, completing the overall impulse to the upside. And then once that impulse is completed, generally you see a bigger retracement down, a larger time frame retracement. So I am looking at more continuation on Bitcoin to the upside overall. But on lower time frames, we might still be in this range for a bit. This range might not be complete, and we might be rejecting coming up here locally from this 786 golden pocket area between 120.5 or 120.6, I'll say, and 121.6. So that area is an area locally where if we do start to reject from this area, we could possibly see that move down to come take out the lows of the range. And we do know that right below those lows is a very key support level. If we go to our chart that has our high time frame multi-cycle pitchfork. Now I'll go ahead and zoom out again so you guys can get a better look at this, but this pitchfork was pulled from our last bull cycle, and it goes from our lows of the 2020 bear market, the COVID lows, to our 65K highs, which was really the top of the cycle. This was more of a corrective move, taking the all-time highs in a liquidity grab, and then our bear market bottom. And you can see this all big dump for multiple years to our bear market bottom. And this pitchfork has just been such highly respected as well, just like this fib channel that has been so highly respected for most of the bull market. This pitchfork, this high time frame pitchfork pulled from our last bull cycle, has been just as respected. And so we've grinded our way up this pitchfork. You can see rejecting from major levels at the pitchfork, our major levels, flipping them to support, rejecting, flipping them to support, getting above. And then now we're breaking above and closing weekly candles above this midline. And this is what's key, because the last time we closed candles above this midline, we did continue pushing up until we had multiple drives of bear div, but then we even made a distribution pattern, making a second drive of all-time highs before seeing that bigger multi-month correction to the downside. So we could be looking for something very similar. Now we're pushing above this midline. Let's go ahead and zoom in onto the 1 hour chart, and let's analyze this range that we're seeing. So this range that we've been in for the past week now is this small range here. If we just look at this range, you can see that we are ranging above our pitchfork midline. Now, what's key here is anytime you have a key break like that of a high time frame resistance that now could be flipped to support. Oftentimes, what you will see after breaking above it and maintaining a range above it, we will come down to take the lows of the range and actually hit that support level and confirm on higher time frames a bullish flip from resistance to support before continuing higher to make new highs. And if you look at our three-wave corrective move locally, we know that it might not be done yet. We haven't hit into the golden pocket 786 area. And in our wave 3, going back to Elliot waves, if we look at, let me get that back there. If we look at our impulse from the bottom, let me just zoom out to the 4-hour chart so this is a little bit easier to see here. We have our impulse from 98.2K, and we see this as our wave 1, our wave 2, our second wave 1, our secondary wave 2. And if you go from the start of wave 3 to the end of wave 3 and you pull your Fibonacci, your wave 4 targets often retrace to levels between the 0.382 and the 0.5. Well, you can see we've already passed the 0.382. We've gone below it, but we have not hit the 0.5 yet. And that 0.5 Fibonacci also happens to be right in confluence with the backtest of this pitchfork band. And if we zoom in on lower time frames, you can also see that is our actual ultimate range lows, because if we're starting the range after this impulse imbalance candle breaking to the upside. So this is why I'm starting this range right here, because you can see what happened with this resistance. The key time and candle that we broke above was a nice big volume imbalance candle, volume supported imbalance candle, fair value gap, whatever you want to call it, to the upside, breaking that resistance with volume, showing that there's real strength in this break of resistance. Well, after we broke that, you can see we've started ranging sideways here. Now, right after breaking that volume imbalance candle, we came down a little bit on what you call a dead cat bounce or a dead cat drop to fill in a little bit of the imbalance of the candle. So that low there is considered the dead cat lows of the range. We have not come down to take out those dead cat lows of the range before continuing the overall trend to the upside. And with Bitcoin having key high time frame support and our 0.5 wave 4 target for a retrace at that exact level, it is highly probable to me that we still can see our bigger 3-wave corrective move coming down and hitting into that 115.2K area of support, and then seeing our real wave 5 come in. So what I'm trying to say is our wave 4 retrace might not be done yet. And if we also look at, as far as Fibonacci time goes, this low here was made before our 0.382 Fibonacci time. And if you do know anything about time confluence with corrections, generally your ultimate low is made after the Fibonacci 382 time. And because this was made before it, it is probable that we still do get one more low pushing down. So ultimately, what does that mean for Bitcoin? That means this range will continue. And we are at Thursday. You know, tomorrow's a pretty important day as well, but we're relatively getting close to the weekend. There's even a possibility that we could slowly range throughout the entire weekend before ultimately coming down and hitting that level of support. Now, I do think it is possible that it happens tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, hitting into that level of support, after you hit into that level of support, generally right around the support level, especially if it's a weekend, you can form a little bit of a range here, you know, over the weekend, and then you see that big breakup come market or Sunday midday for me where I'm at in the world, but it's market open other places in the world, you know, Asia, Europe, and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. But while Bitcoin is in this corrective structure here, it is going to allow some opportunities for the alts to really take off. And we have been seeing that over the past couple of days. And if you guys have been following my live streams and my trades, I've been giving a lot of these support levels before, and we've been making some really profitable trades on the altcoins. My focus has really shifted a lot to the altcoins in the last few days because there is such opportunity in the altcoin market right now. Okay, let me check the chat real quick, say hi to everyone, and then we will get into some of the altcoins. We'll get into some of the stuff that's going on. Yeah, Sui is starting to range, but overall Sui is in a bullish pattern, and I do expect it to continue. I'll actually go through Sui in a second. Kevin, what's up, man? It's 3 a.m. in Malaysia. Wow. Thank you for staying up, man. I really do appreciate that. That's awesome that you're staying up, and I really do hope you get something out of this then. If you're staying up just for this, I really hope you get something out of this. Bearish divs on Market Cipher B on the 1 hour and 2 hour. Yes, so Kevin, I do see potential bear divs coming in on the 1 hour and 2 hour. First of all, we have our higher highs in the price action here, but we don't really have lower highs in the momentum waves here. So that's not 1 hour bear divs per se. And now, actually, I don't really see too much 1 hour bear divs because in order to get a bear div here, we need to make a new high, and then we need to have our momentum wave create a lower high from this peak here, this momentum peak, to our new momentum peak. That would be lower highs in the momentum waves and higher highs in the price action. So as far as 1 hour divs, we're really not seeing too much 1 hour bear divs yet. But if we do zoom out to the 4 hour chart, we did have those 4 hour bear divs on Market Cipher B. Higher highs in the price action here. We had the lower highs in the momentum waves. But because our money flow is rising to the upside steadily, we just got a bit of a small corrective drop to make new lows of taking out these internal lows here, not the dead cat lows down here, but the internal lows. And that 4 hour bear div played out, giving us bottoming out our momentum wave and giving us now a push up. And you can see money flow overall still looks healthy. So anytime you have a single drive of bear divs, if your money flow is looking really strong, that money flow is always going to overpower a single drive of bear divs. You might get a small local drop from it, but the overall trend is going to maintain as long as the money flow is maintaining bullish. So I do think, Kevin, that we do have some bear divs on the chart, and that could continue to cause us to range a bit and maybe come down to 115.2. But I do think overall our bigger range is, or our bigger trend is still intact. And I do think it's higher probability. Nothing is guaranteed, but it's a higher probability that Bitcoin does continue up to make new all-time highs. Okay, yes, Ludong, thank you. You guys, please like the stream. If you get anything out of the stream, please like it, please share it. I've also got a couple partners of the channel. One partner is BYDFI. They are a VPN free and KYC free exchange. So no KYC needed. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. They are offering a really nice initial deposit bonus program right now. So if you deposit just $100, you can get a $50 bonus on your deposit. That's a 50% deposit bonus. And then depending on how much you deposit, there's various 10 to 20% deposit bonuses. All the information's here on the screen. And this goes till July 25th. But also, guys, I have partnered with BYDFI and in a Telegram community. And so I have created a Telegram community that is free to join, but in order to join and get access to the Telegram community, you do have to use my affiliate link and at least deposit $100 to trade with. And once you guys deposit $100 and trade with that $100, you guys can join the community. If you guys are interested in joining that community, the links are in the description, but you can just click on the community. Once you sign up for the community, you deposit your money, and then you use step 4. Make sure you type this in the community, the verify UID, and then you just type verify and then whatever your UID number is, and then it will automatically get you in that Telegram community. And I will post, updates. There's swing trade updates and there's scalp trade updates. And I try to keep that. I'm going to be definitely more active there in the recent weeks and throughout the future. But I do post some of the trades that I'm looking at there if you guys are interested. So in my opinion, this is a win-win. It's free for you guys. All you have to do is deposit money in an account. That is your money still. You get to trade with it. They offer 17% discounts on your trading fees if you use that affiliate link, and you get a free 50% deposit bonus. So really, it's a win-win for everyone. So if you're interested in that, links are in the description for that. And they're also offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much you trade. Second partner of the channel is NAMI. NAMI is a momentum and money flow indicator that I do use to enter and exit trades. For me, it's entry and exit confirmations. And very, very handy indicator. They're running a 50% off special for my community. If you sign up using my affiliate link and my discount code, which is Divine50, you can get 50% off that. So if you're interested in that, the link is in the description to purchase NAMI as well. And then lastly, we do have MEXC, and MEXC is doing a new campaign here where if you deposit $100, you'll get $20 free. And then just from even trading futures, you can earn up to $300. And so this is going till July 19th. They also have a new Pump.Fun campaign where if you deposit in, you can earn tokens in that Pump.Fun campaign. So links in the description for all three of these. If you're interested, that's a way to help out the channel, but also you guys get something out of it as well. All right, enough of the partners and sponsors. Let's get back to the TA here. So, and let me get actually back to the comments as well. What's good? What's up, Curtis J? Yeah, okay, so AXS, we'll check AXS, we'll check SUI. Do you give any credence to the head and shoulders pattern? I do. I talked about this head and shoulders pattern actually yesterday in my video, but I did say it's less likely that it actually plays out and we break to the downside of this head and shoulders. What I was actually looking for is this potential left shoulder here, head here, right shoulder in the making here, but a come to the neckline, maybe pierce it just a little bit. You know, everyone's going to be looking at this as the neckline here. You pierce below it a little bit, everyone's going to short that head and shoulders breakdown, but then coming into our 115.2 support, holding it as support, and then it would give us fuel for a short squeeze to push to the upside. But I'm looking more at the Elliot wave impulse pattern, more probable than a breakdown of a head and shoulders. But because it is there, we will pay attention to it. If we turn on our volume, a way to analyze head and shoulder patterns as well is when you turn on your volume and you look at as the pattern is forming. So as we're forming our left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And as this pattern is forming, generally what you want to see is you want to see volume getting lower and lower and lower as the pattern forms, because it's ending an impulse. It's a topping reversal pattern. But what we saw here is really our volume exploded not towards the end of the right shoulder, but from the end of the right or the left shoulder, excuse me. You can see that we actually got some really big spikes in volume towards the middle here, and that doesn't look as nice. The overall trend is still getting lower and lower and lower, so there is a potential this could play out, but it's not the nicest looking as far as volume confirmation goes. I'm actually looking at a potential take of the range lows, like I said, these dead cat bounce lows into our 0.5 and that pitchfork support before continuing pushing up. And actually, we still might very, very locally push up still to our golden pocket 786 area, because we front ran that yesterday. And generally, if you're going to reject, you're going to reject from one of those two areas, the golden pocket 786. So we did come up yesterday kind of in this, you know, corrective channel looking structure here, broke it down a little bit, but held our range point of control. And now we could be pushing up to actually hit one of those two levels before rolling down and coming to 115.2. That's actually what I do think is most probable to happen, is locally more upside before continuing the range and maybe coming down to 115.2. Now, there is a potential that this corrective move here was it, and we're gonna blast off again, you know. But this structure down that we saw from the all-time highs does look more like a 5-wave impulse to the downside. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have your 5 waves down, and after your 5-wave impulse ends, you're looking for a bigger 3-wave corrective move up in your B, and then you're looking for another 5-wave down in a C, creating your bigger A, B, C. And so I just don't think this corrective move is quite done yet, but there is always, it's all based off probability. So there's always a probability. If you take a look at SUI, it's likely to retrace to 386, scalp long, take out 430. We'll look at SUI in just a second here, and I'll read that again. So yes, okay. Hey, are you going to short the golden pocket? Fruit market, I don't know if I'm going to short the golden pocket. I might. It depends on if we're coming up there, if we're seeing local bearish signals. So like what I would be looking for if I wanted to short that golden pocket, I would turn on the 15-minute time frame. Let me actually turn that golden pocket back on. I guess I just deleted it. Let's do this. And as we're coming up into that golden pocket, I'm going to want to see some bearish divs on lower time frames, right? So let's pull this over real quick. And first of all, we do have a potential swing failure pattern into a golden pocket. And I talk about this a lot on my channels and a lot in the live streams. Anytime you see a liquidity grab into a golden pocket, that is a very nice trade setup, right? You get the liquidity grab into the golden pocket, and then if you lose that high, you can look for the short. So we want to see something very similar to this, you know, coming up here, piercing that level, hitting that golden pocket, and then as soon as you lose that level, you can enter your short trade. Into your short trade here, your stop is going to go above that high, and then you're really just going to be targeting the range lows down here, or even that, 15.2K area. That's a great risk to reward ratio there, 12 to 1 risk to reward ratio. So that is a potential scalp short opportunity, but just be aware, if you're not really seeing bearish confirmations coming up into the golden pocket, there's a potential that we could continue retracing up to the 786 as well. And then you could see a drop from that 786. So as we're coming up there, as we're making our kind of wavy price action to the upside, you're building higher highs and higher lows here, very, very locally. So as we're building that, what we want to see on the charts is you have your momentum waves, and say we have that next wave to the upside hitting into that golden pocket, you're going to want to see a lower high momentum wave, and you're going to want to see local bear divs at least on the 15-minute and under. And also what I would like to see is really continuation of money flow kind of draining out on some of the lower time frames as we're coming up to that area. If I do see those confirmations, then I will look for a short position, a scalp short position with my stop above the local high. Or you could even, if you want to, you could short on the rejection of the golden pocket, and you could put your stop above the all-time high. And because that is a bigger stop, a 2.5% stop, let's see if that even makes sense. So that's only a 1.71 risk to reward ratio. So for me, that's not good enough for a trade, because my first target is going to be that area there where we have major support. So for me, that's the risk reward is not worth it if you're going to put your stop above the all-time high. So in that case, I would be looking for a better risk reward ratio. I'd be waiting for that rejection. Once we hit that rejection, if we lose those highs, then I enter, and my stop is now adjusted lower. Your stop is less than 1%, so you can even use leverage on your account, and you're still 6%, 6 to 1 risk reward ratio. And that's how you would play the scalp there if you were looking at that. But to answer your question, I am interested only if we see our bearish confirmations to enter. Okay. Mark Dutch, welcome in, man. Thank you for coming in, and thank you. Yeah, guys, if you get anything out of this video, please like and subscribe, and welcome in, Mark. It's really good to see you here, man. This cycle is totally different. Well, completely wrong. And what? First of all, we're just going over different scenarios. So yes, there's different scenarios. As a trader, you analyze both scenarios. That way, you're prepared for whatever scenario there is. But yeah, I mean, you have your right to agree. If you think I'm wrong, that's okay too. I just go by what the charts are telling me, but about what I'm seeing. So it's all, everyone's got their own theories and stuff like that. I'm not trying to predict what the market is going to do. I map out key levels that I'm interested in trades, and if I get to those levels, if the market gets to those levels with my confirmations, I enter trades. It's not about predicting the price or predicting what it's going to do as a trader. As a trader, you're mapping out key areas of interest where you could make money off of what the price action is going to do. It's a small bearish div, but confluence with golden pocket. I mean, let's see, 15-minute, we really don't have bear divs yet. Let's look at the 6-minute chart here. 6-minute, we are kind of starting to develop some bear divs. I mean, you can see higher highs here. We have lower highs here. But money flow is still pretty good. Now, money flow is starting to locally top out, and we even have bear divs locally. Higher highs here, lower highs here. So we are starting to get some confirmation. You can also see that NAMI has printed a couple bearish confirmations and money flows draining here, but we haven't touched the golden pocket yet. So you'd want to see these 6-minute bear divs continue to build here until we actually hit that golden pocket. And if you see a series of 6-minute divs like this, as we're coming up into that golden pocket and money flow is still kind of draining out, that could be a good confirmation to enter short there. We just need to be patient and wait for it to actually get to resistance. Because even though you're seeing some bear divs right now, if you're shorting here and your actual major resistance is in this area or even up this area, you're just going to have to use a smaller position size, or you're not calculating your risk management properly. So if you want to be a proper trader and a long-term trader, risk management is key to everything. Yeah, D Crypto, thank you. Everyone like the stream if you get something out of this. Even if you don't agree with me, I don't have any hard feelings if you don't agree with me, but thank you for being here. And yeah, Just let me know what you're thinking. Maybe we can talk about it and see, what's going to happen. So, what about ETH? Okay, we'll cover all these guys. We're going to go into altcoins right now. XRP, guys, is pumping like crazy. And I talked about this the last 2 weeks. I told you guys that it's highly, highly probable that if XRP breaks out of this descending channel, we are going to make new all-time highs. I said we might see some small stops along the way. We were looking at a couple resistances. You can see they're still on my chart. And guess what? That's where we got our reactions. We came into our first box, we got a reaction, we saw a nice corrective move from it. Then we broke above that, we came to our next resistance that I had marked out for months now. This resistance has been marked out for months. We got a very low time frame, head and shoulders pattern, topping reversal pattern. We saw that dump to the downside, hit into the VWAP, and now we're breaking above that. And guess what? We're coming up to our next key swing failure pattern of resistance. But I did say on XRP, it was highly, highly probable that if we broke this descending channel, this 7-month-long descending channel, we would see follow through to make new all-time highs. And guess what? We're there. We're there now, And so I've been telling everyone, actually, when we came down to 306, I told everyone, if you go back and watch the videos on that time frame, this day here, what was that? June 4th, go watch the video. June 5th, go watch the video. I bought spot down here because I knew it was the value area low of our macro range. I knew that we had already bounced from the 382, showing that the overall trend was bullish. And since we had already rejected from the value area high once, it was probable that if we did bounce here, the next time we come up, we're going to break through it. And that's exactly what's happening. And I do think XRP, guys, could continue all the way up to 428 over the next week. This could be a much bigger wave 1, wave 2 retracing to your golden pocket. This could be a wave 3 all the way up to 428. And then we could see a 4 or 5. We could make it all the way up to $5-6 in this impulse here to the upside. So we'll go into XRP more in depth here in just a second. I'm going to cover SUI real quick, and we'll cover some of the altcoins in order. But yeah, guys, it's awesome. Altcoins, we have a lot of opportunity right now in altcoins for altcoins to pump and take advantage of these. Now, also remember, if you're trading with the trend, that's good, but you still need small pullbacks or at least good risk management setups. You can't blindly long it now because you think it's going to go up to 428. If you're longing it now, you're at resistance here. What if we get a swing failure pattern and drop a little bit? But now that this purple box has been broken above, we could actually expect it maybe to confirm to a flip to support. So say we do get a push up swing failure pattern and then come back down, flip it to support, and you start to bounce. Now you could look to enter along a little bit above it, putting your stop below that local low and looking to push up to your, area. But risk management is everything in trading. If you guys get one thing out of me in these live streams, risk management, you can be an excellent technical analysis person, analyst. But if you do not understand risk management long term, you will get wrecked with trading. Okay, let's go ahead and go into SUI, guys. Let me just get some water real quick here. We'll go into SUI. Okay, that's not SUI, that's Solana. SUI here. Okay, so first off, let's just do a refresher on higher time frames on SUI real quick. So SUI got, first of all, we had a very, very nice bottom of the 2024 multi-month correction. And you can see from this bottom, very clean impulse, a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 here in a very clean impulse. Or you can even end your wave 5 here, and then you have a flat correction in here. And then now we dump for multiple months, for, a couple months here. But after this big dump that went from January all the way until April, 4 months there, you can see more locally for the year of 2025, after we ended that dump where Bitcoin was at 74K and SUI was all the way down here at $1.75, $1.70-ish, we got a very, very clean and very clear 5-wave impulse to the upside here. And after an impulse finishes, you're looking for a corrective move. Now, after your impulse finishes, the most common area for a corrective move is your golden pocket. So what you want to do is you want to pull that golden pocket from the low of the impulse to the high of the impulse. Now, because this is more than a 100% move to the upside, you need to take your Fibonacci and you need to click based off log scale, because I also am on log scale here. And then you can see it aligns that golden pocket. And that's why in that exact area, guys, I had about a month before we got down here, when we were way up here in this descending channel, way up here, I had marked this out with spot buy, that I was looking to not only take a swing long down here, but to spot buy down here, because it was our midline of our bigger descending channel in confluence with our golden pocket, which if this was an impulse and we're looking for a higher low and a correction, that golden pocket is the area. And now we could blast all the way up to $6.47 in that general area. And by the way, this could be the like the end of a much bigger impulse. If we're looking at, this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, this was your wave 3 here, this was your wave 4 correction, and our wave 5 is going to end between $7.62 and $6.22. Well, then your sub count here, 1, 2, 3, you know, coming up here in a 3, and then we see a 4, 5. You know, we could be towards the end of this much larger weekly time frame impulse, but we could make it all the way up to $7.62 over the next couple months here on SUI, based off the bullish market structure and the Elliot waves that we're seeing. But okay, so going into some of the lower time frames, because I know that's what you guys are interested in right now, we are seeing the break of this descending channel. So this has been our multi-month correction, multi-month corrective move. After seeing the impulse from the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel, of course, the channel was created off of those pivots, so of course it's going to be the bottom and the top. But you can see we came down to the midline, showing that the channel is highly respected. We bounced. We broke above our large range point of control, so that's key, because if you break above that point of control and you flip that point of control to support, you're expecting a move up to the value area high. Well, what else is at the value area high? I talked about this in Tuesday's live stream as well. We do have... First of all, if you break this descending channel, you're going to expect some continuation to the upside, right? Just like we saw on XRP. You break the descending channel, you see continuation, you see volume come in, you see a follow through. And I do say oftentimes on these descending channels, when you break this trend to the upside, you'll often come right up to sweep at least the second pivot of the channel, but some of the times you sweep all the liquidity that is built of this channel. And that is what XRP is working on right now. But with SUI, you know, we're starting to break that channel to the upside, but we do have some macro resistance just above us. So oftentimes when you break a channel on lower time frames, you'll break that channel, you'll come up into local resistance, you'll reject from local resistance, and then you'll have that bullish back test of that trend. And if that holds, that's when you get that. You know, so, and actually, if you look at XRP on lower time frames, XRP did have that on lower time frames. We did have a back test of the channel after breaking it, and then coming up. Actually, was it XRP or was it Link? One of the two had a perfect back test. I guess it wasn't XRP. It must have been Chainlink's. By the way, guys, we're coming up to that SFP on XRP. If you get that SFP, it could be a decent scalp short position. But going back to SUI, so SUI is breaking out of the channel, and since we've been breaking out of the channel, we're forming a bit of a sideways range. So Ludong, I know you say this is taking forever, it's boring, but here's the thing. We're breaking above it, and actually look at, this is an example of the back test. You break above it, you get the back test on lower time frames, you come up and you make new highs. Okay, so we got our low time frame back test and flip to support. We expected new highs. Now we're starting to find that exhaustion that you find towards the end of impulses, right? You start getting this exhaustive move coming in. You either form a wedge here or a channel, and as you're coming up into that resistance, this entire trend here will end, and then you'll get a bit of a pullback. Oftentimes that pullback comes into key support, and then you really rock it. So what I'm expecting here is this trend overall of higher low, higher high, higher low, overall to come up, make a higher high, but I'm expecting this kind of trend to continue at least up to 430, but really our main level of resistance is that 441 to 445. If we zoom out here, you can see the value area high of our macro range, our more macro range here that we're looking at. Let me just pull this all the way. The value area high is coming up, and remember, because we broke the point of control here, now the point of control has been broken to the upside. We have a high likelihood of coming to the overvalued portion because we broke fair value and we're still in a bullish trend. So now we have a very high likelihood, especially because we're breaking out of our larger descending corrective trend, being the descending channel, and we've already back tested it on low time frames and confirmed it to support. So now we have a very high probability to continue up to the value area high. Well, what do we have up there? We have an SFP of our impulse highs, into a naked weekly point of control at 441.6 or 441.7, we'll say, and then right at 445 is your value area high. So I would say your next major resistance area, where I have a take profit already set exactly at 441, 441.7. I have a take profit set there. But this is your area where you might continue this exhaustive grind up to that area. Now, if we hit into this area and we start to lose that channel, because we're going to be developing a pretty steep channel here. Actually, I think I have a couple channels that I just hid. So this channel is our parallel channel we're in right now. Within, and this is much lower time frame scalp trading, but I was looking at adding to my long position. I'm long from way lower, guys. But if we look at these two highs here, you can see we're in a corrective channel, came down to the bottom, and now we're even very, very locally forming a consolidation triangle here. And this triangle might break down based off some, actually, we might come to the midline and then start continuing up here. But overall, the overall larger trend, I do expect it to continue to the upside. Now, we have that immediate low time frame backtest of the big descending channel break, but the ascending channel, the bigger backtest has not happened yet. So it can happen before we get up into this resistance, or it's more likely to happen after we reject from this resistance. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. All I can do is map out the possibilities and trade whichever one comes. So, and then, it's possible that we continue to grind throughout the weekend in this channel until we come down there, and then we see that push up. But overall, as long as we're above this pink channel trend and really above this, now this is the value area high of the range. It shifts when you go on lower time frames. So that's kind of a bug that TradingView does. So don't pay too much attention to that. The real value area high is up here. But you can also just trade the range locally. So since we've broken out of this channel, we're forming a little bit of a range. So you can zoom in on this range and you can just trade the range. It's a week-long range, just like Bitcoin's been in. So let's hide this channel real quick, this parallel channel, and let's just look at this range. So if your overall bullish is to come up to 441, 445, then what you do now is you take your volume profile, you pull it from the breakout of that channel over, and look we just keep rejecting from the value area high of the range. We just rejected. So if we move down to the value area low, that is an opportunity locally to look for a scalp long. What you could do something like this. If you come here, you start to bounce, your stop can go below the most recent low, and you could just be targeting the highs of the range. That's still a 5.62 risk reward ratio. But knowing your overall trend is up to 441 or at least 430, you could be pulling this all the way up here. You could take a partial profit. I say TP1 here, TP2 at 430. Your final TP could be up here. But overall, I expect SUI to continue pushing to the upside. It is looking pretty good. And we even can look at our exhaustive trend. So now we have our first high and our secondary high. So you can pull a channel from those two highs, and then you bring it down to your first initial lows. Okay, it looks like we kind of deviated this channel already, and we tried to get back in it. We're trying to get back in it. We're not. So this channel's kind of been broken, this trend, but we can look at the new trend based off of the lows now, and so you do this and you pull it to the range high. And this one is kind of respected. The midline's not the best respected, but there is some respect in there. So there's a potential that our sideways and uptrend is going to form in this area, and it's going to take a while to get up to the, to that general area. And generally you'll break it, pierce into that resistance, and then fall back in and then kind of do something like that. But as far as market cipher B goes, yes, we are seeing bear divs, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves, and our money flow is also making those bear divs. That's a bit concerning here on the 1 hour chart. So it is very possible with these bear divs and money flow draining out on lower time frames that we do come to the bottom of the range and grab the liquidity of the lows of the range. Well, this is our little range of the past few days. These are our lows. So guess what? A liquidity grab into your support level at 380 would actually be a really good long to look at, because it's also the bullish backtest of the breakout of your larger trend. So, you come down here, you get that swing failure pattern. Now, remember, you're not setting a limit order there and just waiting for it to hit and hoping it plays out, because there's always a potential that we drop back in, bounce from the point of control, only to come up and reject from the channel again and start trading the larger bearish trend. that we were attempting to break out of. That's what would happen in a bearish scenario. But in a bullish scenario, you're going to come down here because of our lower time frame and divs, come down here, take out the range lows. As soon as you get above that range low at 381.2, 3.812, you can enter long there. Stop is going to go below that wick low, and then you're just going to be targeting the first target is going to be the highs of the range or the value area high of the range. But overall, my overall target would be this guy up here. And that's a 11-to-1 risk reward ratio almost. So, that is what I'm looking at on SUI here. And yes, SUI is kind of being boring and ranging a bit, but it had some explosive price action here, and it's just kind of consolidating. Same thing with SAY, guys. SAY pumped up to some very key resistances, and I talked about it in yesterday's video, but SAY, we were looking at a high likelihood that SAY starts to form a range within this pitchfork band. It's exactly what it's doing. We came up to the highs of the pitchfork band, which was also our macro golden pocket. We rejected. We came down to the low. Bounced from the bottom of the band. Now we're kind of just chopping around that band, and you can even come down and take out these lows possibly. So inform that head and shoulders pattern type of thing. But I do think that SAY is at key resistance, and we could see a bigger pullback from here. That's why I took profit exactly at 38 cents here. I took profit exactly at 38 cents on my long position, down from $24.67 up to 38. We long 24.67 right here when it hit into our local golden pocket in the back test of the pitchfork band. Now I took most of the profit up here, and then I re-added more down here, and then of course once we got up there. So yeah, but Ludong, I hope this helps. And oh, you're Spartacus Crypto. I just approved your DM on Discord today, so I'm sorry I didn't see that for quite a while, but I just you should be able to talk to me now in Discord. So if you guys are interested in joining the Telegram group, you can also DM me in Discord, and because I know some people are having trouble with that. So, and also I'm in Jason Casper's community, and I want to be super, super respectful to him. So I do not talk about any of my channel or any of my stuff inside his community. I really don't want to give the appearance that I'm trying to mooch off his community or, you know, take people from him. I highly, highly respect Jason and everyone, you know, all the traders, Jason and Andy and these guys. And I do not want to have appearances that I'm trying to, you know, take from them in any way. But okay, guys, so that's about it for SUI. And I just showed you a little bit of SAY, but we can go back to SAY later if people want to. Let's see, what was the next one? It was AXS. Axe Infinity, is that, I think that's the one you're looking at. Now, I don't know if I've ever done TA on this except for like way back in the day, you know, obviously way back in the day, but, Axie Infinity. Let's go on to the weekly. Gosh, man. Yeah, like, look at, we were doing TA right when it first launched up here. Like, that is crazy. I honestly think this is kind of a dead project. I don't know, guys, if the game is still going and if there's people that actually play it, like actual users, but be aware of these games. They're fads. It's a nice game where everyone makes money at first and it becomes a fad, and then it kind of doesn't have a use case. So guess what? Like, overall, the project kind of dies, and you may never, ever reach all-time highs on this thing ever again, because I remember how much hype was for this game, and people were spending like tens of thousands of dollars on like certain I don't know, Pokemon, or not Pokemon, but whatever they were, the Axies or whatever. So just be aware with these kind of coins that they could never recover. But what I will say on a technical level, we are making lower lows in the price action and higher lows in the momentum waves. And our money flow is starting to curve up on the weekly. We have weekly bull divs on NAMI and money flows just crossing into the green on NAMI. So you are seeing some bottom signals on the weekly time frame, at least of a bigger push up, at least to take out maybe these local internal highs here. So it does look like we are starting to bottom, but the thing is, oftentimes with projects, when you're getting to a bigger bottom like this, you start to form an accumulation range that lasts months. So maybe we get a push up to take out those lower highs at 383. and then we drop back down to your golden pocket, and then you start to form an accumulation range that lasts a bit. And then if the project is good and has any use case, you break out of that and you start to see that expansion phase. You know, you get your Wyckoff accumulation, and then you get your expansion phase, and then you get a distribution phase, you know, and then all that stuff like that. So what I would say is there is weekly bull divs on the chart confirmed on both NAMI and Market Cipher B. So that's your first bullish sign right there. We are breaking local market structure bullishly, and let me just mark this weekly out real quick, and then I'll go in, zoom into the daily. On the daily time frame, you can see that we are breaking market structure bullishly, finally making overall on the daily, you know, high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, low low, lower high, low low, lower high, lower low. Finally though, we made a lower high, but then we made our first higher low, and now we're making a higher high. So we're finally starting to break market structure bullishly on the daily time frame here. So now we have confirmations of weekly bull divs breaking market structure daily bullishly. That's two nice signs to be looking for at least a little bit of a push up. And now now that we're breaking these highs though, you don't really want to lose those again. You could, you know, we'll analyze that in just a second, but I would just be very, very careful trading dead projects like this. I just have to say that. Like, I don't know if you're wanting to buy this spot. I don't know what your intention is for this, but I would just caution you on that, okay? There's much better trades out there. I would say there's much better trading opportunity out there with some of the large cap altcoins than this. I will just say that. But you can see that we had a pretty steep dump to the downside, a steep crash, I would even say, to the downside here over the past few months. Now, once we ended this here, you can see we've kind of been going sideways in this area. So now we can pull a range, and what we're doing with the fixed range volume profile is we're measuring the relevant price action. Okay, we're coming up to the value area high, and we're rejecting from the value area high. Now, we know we just marked out a fresh daily level that's at 245, and your point of control is right below that. So that area right now, I can tell if we do reject from this value area high and we start to close daily candles below this high, which right now we are. Actually, we didn't even close the daily candle above it, but you can see we're piercing these highs, and if we close this daily candle red like this, I probably would expect a bit of a move down. And you can also see Market Cipher B is the money flow starting to curl over into the red. Our momentum wave is topped out. And on NAMI, we even have bear divs here. Higher highs in the price action on the daily time frame, lower highs on the momentum waves. Your money flow is coming out. So I actually think that we might see a bit of a dump correction down at least to, you know, the point of control here. Because if you reject from value area high, you might see a move down to point of control. Now, if that doesn't hold, you're going to move down to value area low, which is also where your weekly's at, down in this area. But let's go ahead and pull a Fibonacci from our lows on the daily time frame to our new highs. And okay, very, very nice. Let's make sure that's not in log scale though. Let's do gold. Yep. Okay. Golden pocket there. So now I already see a very, very nice level of support. Okay, first of all, and then let me come in here and we'll mark out our naked weekly points of control very locally here. All right, no naked weeklies on the way down here. This one is this week, so we're not going to mark it out. But this naked weekly point of control appears nice because it's above these highs. So it would be confirming a break in larger like weekly structure. Let's do that. That's going to be a naked weekly. And then let's just come look at our naked daily points of controls here. All right, naked daily point of control right on top of our point of control. But look at this. These are our key ones right here. Let's mark these out here. So key naked daily point of control on the larger range point of control. That's confluence for you. Okay, the next one that's probably the most important one is we have a naked daily point of control inside our golden pocket and right near our weekly level. That is more confluence. That's the nice confluence you want to see. And then our last one that is very, very interesting. Now we have two under below it, but the last one that's very interesting is this one that's right on top of the value area low. So we mark those out. Now I'm going to shut this off. And what I can see now is we have some nice confluences of support. So if we reject from this general area, we could push up a little bit higher to actually hit the value area high. But if we start to reject and roll over, my first general area I'm going to be looking at for support, now I know this is a big area here, is that daily / point of control. But really, if you want to really refine it, you could do the daily as a one separate area, and then you could look at your point of control naked daily as like the main area. You know, maybe you do something like this where you come down, you wick to this level, but you close your body at the daily level, and then you would see that little bit of reversal up. So that's my first major sign of support, level of support. But the good juicy level is going to be this golden pocket, naked daily POC, and weekly. You know, that's 221 to 218-ish. That there is your very nice level of support, where if you come down there, because you're breaking market structure bullishly, higher highs, higher lows, if you come down here, it would be maybe a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. You could be confirming another higher low on more macro market structure. So that's what I would be looking at as far as the real nice setups. Now, locally, honestly, I wouldn't be interested in anything here. And we do have a daily level up here. This daily level was front run, and this daily level that's right here is in confluence with your value area high. So there is a potential that we do continue to grind a little bit more up to actually hit the daily and hit the value area high. But that 269 to like 270 area is your resistance above. That is just above us. And honestly, that's all I would be interested in. These two levels. And then if you lose this weekly, the next level you're looking for is your naked daily at 211. That's right in your value area low. That's your third support level. Is this guy here. Okay. That's it for AXS. Honestly, it's got bull divs on higher time frames, but it's kind of a dead project, and I don't know if there's going to be, you know, crypto is really a lot based off sentiment, and I don't know if anyone even plays this thing anymore. If I'm thinking, hopefully I have the right coin. Let me check the chat here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now let me cover the chat again, and then I'll go into Ethereum, XRP, Solana. Why is XRP pumping? XRP is pumping because, first of all, the stablecoin stuff going on with the government, and XRP does have a pretty nice stablecoin that's government regulated. But XRP's been in a corrective cycle for 7 or 8 months, and we're finally breaking that corrective cycle. So of course we're going to see follow through. You know, I literally go back and watch the last 2 weeks of my videos. I've been really talking about XRP breaking out to new all-time highs in the coming weeks. I've been harping on it in all my YouTube videos, telling you guys overall macro, I'm bullish, and we are going to break this thing up and come to new all-time highs. Okay, so let me get back to where I was. So yes, good evening, Mark from the Netherlands. It's awesome that you're tuning in. I appreciate it. You got out of the trade now. I regret every second. I'm not sure which trade you're talking about. Bear divs from July 17th. Okay, I'm assuming you mean on Bitcoin. 2-hour chart. Wait, July 17th is today. So I'm not sure. Okay, Bitcoin's getting a little bit of a dump here, guys. We didn't even come up to the golden pocket again yet. Yeah, so this range is continuing. You know, let's see if we bounce from our VWAP or from our point of control. But I would just expect this range, this 7-day range, to continue, which is going to allow more time for alts to pump too. July 17th. Are you talking about like this? Higher highs here, but we also have higher highs here, so that's not really bear divs on the 2-hour. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I would say overall Bitcoin is just in ranging price action. So anytime you get near the value area high, you could look for shorts, especially if you pierce above it and then break back below it. Now what you could have done with this is we pierced above it, we attempted to get above it, but then when you fall back under it, you can look for the short. Your stop is going to go below the high there. And then you're going to be targeting, you know, POC is that's a 2.85 just if you drop to the POC. But really, if you're targeting value area low, that's a 5-to-1 risk reward ratio. So that's a good scalp trade that you could take. Just range trading based off your scalp range. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like we missed a big fish. Yeah, the market is pumping, and altcoins are going to pop off because dominance is dropping so hard. Okay, ETH, Sol, XRP. Okay, I've watched you a while. Elvis, that's awesome, man. I'm glad that I've helped you a bit here. Another Vietnamese. Okay, I like your insane. Yeah, I'm still looking for the ETH long to 3,600. ETH and link, please. So, ETH is dumping. It was a rug. Okay, let's see. We need TA on new golden boy of the crypto market. Who's the new golden boy of the crypto? Oh, are you talking about ETH being the? And ZMX, welcome in, man. It's good to see you. Big dump. Buy what dump? Okay, 3405. Yeah, let's look at ETH real quick here, guys. I hope the channel grow. Okay, yes. And yes, thank you, Mark, for always posting that stuff, man. I do appreciate that. So, guys, Ethereum, I did post earlier today that I was looking for a scalp long because, first of all, we are at macro resistance. Let me just say that. And this is a dangerous trade unless you know what you're doing. So if we look at our highs going back to March of 2024, and we pull a volume profile of this sideways price action, you can see we're at the macro value area high right now. And it's also in confluence with our upper pitchfork band. You know, you can see we had the bottom of the pitchfork band, chopped around in the lower band for a couple weeks, broke it to the upside, chopped around for a couple months around the midline. Then we're breaking up to the upper band, and it's also the value area high. So we're at macro resistance, and there is absolutely a big possibility we could drop from here and drop all the way back down. Like, you know, we could drop down quite a ways here. If this impulse is done, I don't think it's done yet, but we could drop quite a ways. So now what we're looking for, because we're at macro resistance, but on lower time frames, if we zoom in, first of all, look at the daily time frame. Money flow looks very bullish. Okay, so that should give you a little bit of bias towards continuing the impulse to the upside. We zoom in onto the 8-hour chart. Money flow looks really good, but we are now starting to confirm with this momentum wave rolling over, which it wasn't rolling over in yesterday's video that I made, but it's rolling over. So now we have confirmed 8-hour bear dips. That's kind of bad. Higher highs here, lower highs here, lower highs here, and also momentum money flow divs. So that's kind of bad to see. And if we do start to lose this pitchfork band and come below the lows that we made earlier today, then I'll get stopped out of my long, but I'll also look to see if maybe I can catch you short here. ZMX, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you for that comment. That's awesome. Very kind of you. Okay, 4-hour chart though, guys. So you can see we came up to the value area high. We're rejecting from our value area high. But the reason why, look at money flow looks still pretty good on the 4-hour, both on NAMI and Market Cypher B here. Money flow looks good. Yes, we do have the bear divs, just like I showed you on the 8-hour. They're also here on the 4-hour. But if we look at our 1-hour, this is why I took the long earlier today, and now it's starting to top out, which is a little bit concerning. But our money flow looked overall really strong, and we printed a hidden bullish div signal. And so that means continuation is going to happen. But what we were looking at is we saw a bit of a dump this morning, very early this morning. Let's go in onto the 15-minute. And, you know, after hitting into the value area high up here, we dropped pretty aggressively. Now, after coming down, let me get rid of this. All right. Sorry, guys. Let's get rid of this for a second. And after coming down and hitting below the pitchfork, so we dropped below that pitchfork, and then we reclaimed it. And the second we reclaimed it here, I took a long. Actually, yeah, I took a long in here once we reclaimed it, right at 3,400. Looking to take the highs, but really to come up to 3,600. And we're just chopping around right now. And we still, my stop, if you guys saw that long position I had, I'm entered at 3,400. And my stop is below that local low, because if we break this low, then it kind of invalidates my trade idea. But even to the top up here, that's a 2.5 risk reward ratio, but really I'm targeting my final up here. That's a, 6-to-1 risk reward ratio. So I'm risking 1% to make 6%. Even though we're at macro resistance, there is a potential we can come a little bit higher. And the reason why is because we do have, if we zoom out onto the, let's just go to the 12-hour again. If you look at, yes, we are at the value area high in the bottom of the pitchfork upper band. This is the lower band down here. We're at the upper band. We're at the start of it. But you can see that at the top of the upper band, I have a box up there. And why do I have a box up there? Because if we turn on our levels, we do have a fresh weekly level of resistance that is in perfect confluence with that upper band. And I do think that yesterday we closed the daily candle above this upper band. And if we close a daily candle above it, there's a potential that we form a little bit of a range around the value area high and then work our way up to there. And then once we get up there, maybe we're going to dump and lose it and continue, or maybe we're going to continue to range in here and continue busting up to the top of the pitchfork around 4,600, but we don't know what's going to happen yet, but we're at resistance. So be aware of that. And we do have some very key resistance above us. And I'm looking potentially to come up there just based off of our larger trends money flow looking so bullish. Now, yes, we could get a bit of a corrective dump here, but if we do get stopped out, okay, I got stopped out, I lost a trade, no big deal. We could be dumping to come down to take out these lows here, because look at now, you know how Bitcoin's been forming a range for a week, SUI's forming a range. This could be Ethereum starting to form a range in here for a bit, right around the value area high, right underneath the value area high. Oftentimes you'll form a bit of a range on lower time frames, and then you break out of the value area high. So I'm looking at potentially getting stopped out here. If I do, and we come down, I'll actually do this right now. We can set an alert on this low. And if we SFP that low, I will look to long it, but only if we SFP. So that means that you pierce below the level, then you reclaim that level. If you reclaim that level, you look to enter long on the reclaim. Your stop goes below the wick that was just created, and you're going to target really the highs at first, but then, that could be your first TP. That's still an 8-to-1 risk reward ratio. And then you could even target up here, which is a 15, 16 or so. So yeah. But overall, guys, Ethereum is looking pretty good. Now, I just saw this earlier today. I was looking at Ethereum very closely, and the 4-hour money flow and the 1-hour money flow looked pretty good. But right now, the money flow is trying to curve over here. But you can see we're really fighting with this pitchfork band. And one of the reasons why I longed it when I did is because it was acting as support all day yesterday. You can see we came up into it. It was acting as support. Well, early this morning, or really last night for me, once again, guys, we pierced it with a volume supported imbalance candle to the upside. So telling me, just like anytime you see these pierces of big levels with a volume imbalance candle, the market is really making a healthy push above it. Now, once you're pushed above it, you're going to test it as support a couple times. If it holds, you continue higher. If it doesn't, you'll come down and take local lows or make a much bigger dump. So that is what we're in the process of right now, is kind of back testing yesterday's resistance now as support. And if it holds, we will continue higher. Okay, so that is about it for Ethereum, guys. Let's go next to, what was it? Ethereum, Solana. Okay, ETH, Solana, ICP. Curtis, I'll do ICP. Let's just look at ICP real quick. I'm still in an ICP long, but I did take out like 90% of the trade already. And I showed you guys that in the Discord. I took it out at this resistance up here. But ICP, so ICP looks really, really good on larger time frames. Actually, let me zoom out here onto the weekly real quick, guys. So ICP has been dumping, first of all, on the larger weekly time frame. It does look like we're starting to form a bottom here, a bigger weekly accumulation, after seeing a gigantic dump here. But even that, that's pretty big for accumulation. So what I would say is ICP since your March 2024 highs, you can see a very nice clear 3-wave corrective move down, right? Making an overall higher low from your lows here. So we have a 3-wave corrective move, higher low, and now we're starting to form a bottoming range on the weekly time frame. You can see I actually have that range pulled, the volume profile pulled for that range. So here, weekly time frame, starting to form a bottoming range in here, what you could call an accumulation range. Well, do we have weekly bull divs? Okay, let's zoom in here. Sorry, guys, I always make that chart kind of small. I'll work on getting it larger here, but you can see here, no real bull divs because we have our low and we have a higher low here. Money flow is starting to curve to the upside, and on NAMI, it's crossed over into the green, and it's actually looking really healthy here. Now, I've marked out the weekly. We also actually have a weekly there. I should mark that out. Okay, and then let's go on to the daily time frame. So you can see now that range really well on the daily time frame. You can see we bottomed the impulse here, and since that bottom, we've started forming a range. So you can just pull that range here. And even if you wanted to, you could even include this little bit of it here. It just depends. I mean, it really doesn't change the volume profile too much. Yeah, almost not at all. So you can see we have our range here, and what is happening is we started to, let me hide some of these levels here. And where's that last weekly? There we go. Okay, first of all, we hit into our 1-to-1 Fibonacci target. Perfect, right? So for our bigger, huge three-wave corrective move from the March 2024 highs, hit into your 1-to-1 perfectly. Now, that is your ABC correction target. So if all this is an A, this is a B, and this is your C, you're between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236 is your levels. Well, seeing that we bounced on the weekly level at your 1.236 and now we're forming a bottoming range should tell you that it's about to change. The trend is about to change. Corrective move is now ending, and now we're forming an accumulation range here. Accumulation, 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 and guess what comes next? Expansion. So ICP on a spot position looks really nice, and on a leverage position, it looks really nice, but you're at the top of your accumulation range. So longing right now with leverage or futures trading, you're at the top of your accumulation range, and there is a potential that you could rotate back down to create a higher low and then break it. So just be aware that I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a week or two of a pullback to make a higher low in here and then continue. But you're forming your bottoming range. You're at the value area high right now. We have broken lower high mark. We've broken some internal. We took liquidity internally of this internal liquidity grab here at 575. That is exactly where I TP'd at, is that liquidity grab. And I did TP some here too, guys. But now if we can maintain above this value area high, then we have a high likelihood to continue to take out the highs of this accumulation range. So I would say these highs up here, or even you could throw this high on there, which is pretty much the same high, slightly higher, but generally these two highs between 632 and 637. And if we reject here, then we're going to be looking for a corrective move down, but very, very locally. Let's zoom in here onto the 4-hour time frame. It looks like an impulsive pattern to me, and this looks very much like, I forget which one, another coin, but you have your 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's a triple 1, 2, or what you call a multiple 1, 2. So you have your 3 1, 2s, you get your big push up in a wave 3, and I would say your wave 3 actually ends here because you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then now we're expecting a 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, something like that, where you kind of get that wedge or that channel that ends that impulse. So we are starting to see the impulse get a little bit of exhaustion in here. And remember, towards the end, you often form these ranges where you see exhaustive type price action. So as long as we don't lose that trend, we're probably going to continue grinding up slowly in a channel. Let's do this. Yeah, so here's your channel right here, and we'll bring it to the first low. So look at how nice that channel looks, right? You have your corrective channel or your exhaustive channel. You take it from the first high to the second high. You reject it a third time from there. But look at the bottom's also being respected. The midline's also being respected here. So now that we're dumping and losing the midline, there's a potential we could come down to the bottom of the channel. Let's pull our Fibonacci from the last lows to the highs. Let's turn on our 786, which oftentimes altcoins run to the 786. So that's 786 at 531.6 at the bottom of the channel. If your trend is going to continue to hold this exhaustive trend here, then you could come down here, bounce from that, continue coming up. And but that could be an opportunity, or you could pull a golden pocket from the lows of this little range to the highs of this little range, and it's probably going to be where your golden pocket is. Yeah, see, so that is your area, the bottom of the channel, the large range golden pocket, or larger range. And what I'm talking about with the range is you're just taking the volume profile within this ascending channel. So from the start of the ascending channel to the end, and sure enough, your value area lows down there. So that is your area of support for a scalp long. This is the trend here. So this area between 535 and 531 is going to be your area where you could look for support. If we start to close 4-hour candles below this point of control, then it's probably a high probability we come down here. Now, we could be seeing a very internal liquidity grab right here of these little lows of the past couple days. So let's zoom in here and let's do the 30-minute chart, because you can see this is our range of like the last 3 days. Actually, since Tuesday. Yeah, so the last 2 days. Let me hide this bigger purple box because it's annoying. But you can see we are been forming a sideways range since Tuesday. This guy right in here. So now we just came down and took our range lows. So if we do confirm the SFP, which it looks like it might confirm, let's actually look at our 15-minute chart. Did it confirm on the 15-minute? Not quite yet. I mean, we confirmed it, but we're back down below it. So I wouldn't say it's quite confirmed yet. But if we do start to bounce here, then this could have been it for the drop. We could have just taken the range lows of our micro range, and we could be pumping again. But if we start to close candles, 15-minute candles below that, I expect to move down to 532. Now, if we're making our way down to 532 with bull divs on lower time frames like 15-minute, 30-minute, and under, I honestly would look to long this. But overall, I think ICP has a very high potential to keep going. Money flows just crossing over into the green here. And our weekly, actually, let's go to 2 days. 2-day money flow just crossing into the green. You do have some nice, that money flow looks good. Not really bull divs here, unfortunately. But yeah, I think we're at the value area high. We're at this general area of resistance. And also, let's do this. I know this chart's getting messy. Let me hide this channel for a second. And let me hide some of this smaller stuff. If we pull a Fibonacci from the highs of this larger accumulation range, the daily accumulation range, to the lows, yeah, we're at the golden pocket, guys. So this is your golden pocket value area high. And that's why I had my bigger purple box here. Golden pocket value area high. That's if you longed the value area low, you take profit up here. Now that we're up here, if we do not break this, there's a potential we could come down, not only losing 532, we could lose 532 easily if we're going to break this larger trend. And then you're going to be looking to come down, to your golden pocket area, probably even the 786, which is going to be around the value area low. We can look at, let's do this. Let's look at our naked daily points of controls in here. Naked weeklies first. Okay, no naked weeklies in here. And let's zoom in onto the 2-hour chart, and let's look at our naked dailies. Yeah, naked daily point of control on top of the regular point of control. But actually that 476, I think that's going to be where your golden pocket is as well. No, a little bit, not quite confluence there. I don't like that. But I would just say, let's see, is this 532? 530-ish. So your very local support is near a naked daily down here. Anyways, we're at a larger resistance. Our more macro daily golden pocket pulled from the highs of the last daily to the lows of the last big daily push down. I hope I'm making sense there. And then if we reject here and start to lose that ascending channel support, then we're probably going to come down to point of control at first, which is 498. And if we lose point of control, then value area lows coming. If we break this, we could continue breaking up and coming up much higher too. So just be aware that, those highs that are coming in at 632 to 637 can easily get taken. Okay. Indeed. Well, thank you, ZMX. I appreciate that. And TRX, thank you for your nice comment too, man. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that you guys are really getting something out of this. So if you do get something out of this, please like the video, guys. Just help me grow as well. It's rainy and thundery in Montreal. Well, dude, like I did a live stream last week where my entire power got taken out from a thunderstorm, and it broke my freaking skylight too. The hail did. It sucked. Oh, okay, XRP, we'll go into XRP here, and then we'll go into Solana. Let me do Solana first, actually, because Solana was next, and then we'll go into XRP. But Solana is, so I talked about this yesterday in my YouTube video, guys. I talked about Solana being in a bigger impulse here, and our local 382 acting as support because we were rejecting yesterday. We were right in here and we were rejecting from the 786. And I said, okay, guys, if we're going to reject from the 786, but our overall, let me start from the top down. So on the daily time frame, we lost the value area low of the range. We came down to a monthly level. It was also our pitchfork band of support down here. Go watch the videos from around April 7th. We nailed this low perfectly. But then we broke back up into our volume profile since the March highs, March 2024 highs. We've been in this volume. You know, this is our overall fair value since March of 2024. But we broke back up inside the volume profile, and we came down here and we flipped it to support. Now I longed this exact touch here at $123. It was like 123.6 or something, and I brought it up to 144 where the point of control was. But you can see we broke back inside the volume profile. We flipped it to support. We made our way above the point of control, flipped that to support. And so now that we flipped the macro point of control, which was acting as resistance, now flipping into support, you can expect a move overall to come up to the value area high. Well, we continue to push up, broke our anchored VWAP from the all-time high, back tested that anchored VWAP as support, made a new high, but we didn't quite hit the value area high. Look at the value area high, and actually if we pull this volume profile back a little bit, the value area high was even, it was like 198. If we come up here, you know, see it was up higher. It was at 192, but now it's come down to about 189. And so we missed the value area high. We did not hit it. We front ran it. And then we got a nice big corrective move pretty much all the way down to the value area low again. But now, since we've got that corrective move down to 126, we've been in some impulsive price action here. And just like with Bitcoin, it looks like a 1-2, 1-2, and this could be all your third wave here. And then we could expect a 4-5, 4-5 coming up into these highs here. But what I'm looking at is, yes, we are hitting into our macro 786, pulled from the last daily high down to your low. We're hitting into our 786. And we're starting to see a little bit of a rejection, but because our overall trend just crossing into the green here, really nice looking. And then I think our 4-hour money flow looked very bullish here. We had a lot of bullish signals. And so I was expecting, I talked about this in yesterday's video, you know, if we pull a Fibonacci just from our last lows to our highs and we look at the 382, because in a strong trend, the 382 acts as support or resistance. And maybe it's this guy here I was looking at. How did I get that? Yeah, okay. Oh, because it was lower. We made a new high earlier. So yesterday, the high was here. So our 382 yesterday, we made a new high today. That's why that 382's changed. But yesterday, the Fibonacci pull was from the lows to our highs here. And if you look in a strong trend, the 382 often acts as support or resistance. So go watch the video yesterday. I did say, guys, our prior highs are there. And if our bullish trend is going to continue overall, then if we drop to the 382 in confluence with our prior highs, it should hold because market structure remaining bullish and we should continue pushing up. Well, what happened yesterday, and I actually did add to my long here exactly at 160, at the 382, we rejected from the 786. I took a little bit of profit here. I actually re-added it right here. And I still, I took out 50% and then I added, because I didn't want to bring my entry up too high, I added about 40% of the 50% I took out. So I know that's confusing, but I'm expecting overall, guys, the move up to our purple box. And that purple box is on the daily time frame. It's an SFP of our last big impulse highs, you know, this impulse here. It's the SFP of the highs into our value area high at 189. But you can see also right above that, we have our macro golden pocket from 191 to 198. And that golden pocket is going to be pulled from the all-time highs down to your lows. And here's the thing, guys. If we put the golden pocket, you're going to say, no, the golden pocket's up at 218. Well, this drop is more than a 30% drop to the downside. So anytime you have more than 100% pump to the upside, you want to use log scale and turn on that log scale. But this was a 67, almost a 68% drop to the downside. If it's over a 30% drop, you really want to take that fib and you want to come in here and you want to click based off log scale and then look at, now it's going to put your Fibonacci in the correct area, proper 61% retrace. And so there you go. And that box is now our box of macro resistance. And I do think it has a high likelihood of at least continuing up here, but we could continue higher. You know, it could continue much higher. And the thing is, we have a overall bearish scenario. We had our big dump that happened, and you could be getting a 3-wave corrective move up to your 1-to-1 at 218, having your 3-wave corrective move and then continuing a bigger dump down. Or this could be the end. This was the end of the bigger dump, and now we're about to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, a big push up to new all-time highs, which does look more likely. And in that case, you're going to be looking at your 1.618 potentially ending. And let me just come in here and turn that off. So you're going to be looking to come up to 275 just for your third wave, you know, potentially. It doesn't have to, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, something like that is to end the bull market or whatever, or to end this big alt season. But yeah, 189 to 198 is now what I'm looking at. I do think we have a high probability of continuing up there. But if we do not close, because today you can see on the daily time frame, let me get rid of these small ones now that we've already hit into it. Because we're attempting to break above the 786 on the daily, you can see we wicked above it today. And if we close this candle today underneath it, this daily candle today underneath it, there is a potential we could pull back. And there's a potential we could pull back all the way to the anchored VWAP at 163. Let's zoom in a bit more. And let's pull a Fibonacci from the last big kind of swing lows here to our highs. Okay, golden pocket. Now, this is your more macro support level that's going to be really nice. 144, because it's your large range point of control in confluence with the golden pocket. But if we look at, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, push up. Actually, I would say, I would still count this as a double 1, 2. You have your 1, 2, 1, 2, and then this is all part of your third wave here. So if we're going to pull a Fibonacci, if the third wave is done, you're pulling your Fibonacci from the lows of 3 to the highs of 3. And we're looking at our wave 4 targets. So yeah, your wave 4 target, guys, is going to be right in that area. So if we really start to lose, close a daily under the 786, then we might drop down to like 165 to 161 within this general area. And sure enough, look at, if we pull a range of the last micro range, this range here, but let's pull it until right after we break out. Yeah, that general area. Look at the value area high is going to be right at the 382, so 165. And then the value area low is right below that 0.5. So I would say this general area between 165 and 161. If we close the daily candle below the 786 at 174.5, there's a potential that we could come down here. But I overall expect us to continue up to 189 to 198. Okay. Do I think the impulse for CRV is done? No, I do not. I think CRV is going to continue at least up to 104. We'll cover CRV in a second. I'm going to do XRP. Yeah, we'll do XRP next, and then we'll cover Link and then CRV. And then, guys, after that, I got to go. So, XRP, Link, CRV. XRP, I did cover this a little bit earlier today in the stream, but XRP is breaking up. And yesterday, guys, I talked about that naked weekly at 310. It was very high likelihood we would continue up there. And if you watch my YouTube video yesterday, we were making this wedgie type pattern. If we zoom in onto the 24-minute, we were making this wedgie type pattern. Where was it? Right up in this area here. If we do, let me do the hourly. If we take our trend line and we just connect the highs. Now this was yesterday. Yeah, connect the highs here. Love it. There you go. And then your lows, you were kind of making this wedge. And we were forming that wedge up into, you know, the top at the 310 area. So if we were going to break this, if we were going to reject again from 310 and lose those the wedge lows, there was a potential we could have dropped to 280. Now this golden pocket's no longer a golden pocket because we made new highs. But I did say that if we break this wedge, we're coming up to 329, which is exact. Guess what, guys? We came up to our resistance. We got a rejection. That would have been a nice scalp right there just to come to the VWAP. But because the VWAP's bouncing today, the VWAP often acts as support or resistance in a trending day. Now it's acting as support because this is a very strong trend. So we come down to the VWAP, we bounce, we break our level. Look at how nice this is trading, actually, guys. First of all, on the larger time frame, 7 months, 7.5 months, we have been literally trending sideways in a descending channel. Now, I pulled this descending channel literally way back in January based off of the all-time high and this lower high. Now, originally, I had the lows of this channel at these lows here, but when we had our flash crash dump in February, the first Sunday of February, I moved it down there, and you can see that we've been just trending in this volume profile and overall in a descending corrective move for months and months and months. Now, what happened is we came down one last time to the value area low. We deviated below it. We got back above it. You can see deviated the value area low, got back above it, back tested it as support. Now, I longed the crap out of this. But I took profit too early. I took profit when we hit the top of the channel here and started rejecting at the top of the channel. But you can see here, so we confirmed a flip to support, moved up to the top of the channel, started to get a small rejection, and locally I was looking for long opportunities here and here for a breakout. Archie, thank you, man. I really appreciate that comment, dude. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for joining. Really appreciate that. Okay, so guys, XRP, we were looking for the breakout of this trend, and I did say that we're probably going to break this channel to the upside and at least come to our anchored VWAP from our all-time high. And our point of control is in that area. So I was expecting a move at least up to 241 or 240-ish, where that point of control was. But I said if we break that point of control, well, where was our next level we were looking at? We were looking at the value area high at 260-ish, but we broke above that, and look at how we broke above it, guys. Huge volume candle to the upside. Yes, there was quite a wick on that day, a bearish wick, but overall our trend is super bullish on this thing. And anytime you correct, like say, just imagine this was the 1 hour chart and you're correcting in a descending channel for 1 hour, and then you finally start to get exhausted and find a bottom, and then you start to break that channel. Oftentimes you will see that 1 hour chart just sweep up locally to take out the highs of that channel. And this is the same thing, just on a larger time frame. And XRP loves to do this on larger time frames. It will range for a long time, find a low, find that kind of bottoming area, and then it just pushes. And we kind of found the bottom area, and now we are starting to push. But the main thing that gave me a bias that we were going to break the all-time highs actually happened here all the way back in April. And if we look at our big impulse to the upside, going from the lows of the impulse to the highs, the all-time highs, and we turn on our 382, which often acts as support resistance in a strong trend, but because this is a 600 or more % move to the upside, you have to put it based off log scale. And in a strong trend, your 382 will bounce. It will hold as support in a strong trend. Well, guess what, guys? You can't get much stronger of a trend than straight up, right? This was straight up. So if we are expecting XRP overall on a macro time frame to continue up higher, we're going to want to see us grind down in a corrective structure, and it's going to bounce from that 382. And once it does, it's going to shift market structure overall bullishly and continue. So what did we see? We came down to the 382, and look at that wick. Look at that buying pressure that stepped in exactly on the 382. Exactly on the 382. Bounced here. The second we bounced here and closed that daily candle, I knew eventually XRP was going to make new all-time highs. It was just a matter of time. It was a matter of continuing to form a bit of a corrective range. But we bounced here, and by the way, I did long that level. We came up to the value area high of our range, but it was also the top of the channel. Now, guys, we hadn't hit the top of the channel since we formed it. So the first time you hit into it, I was expecting a rejection here, and go watch the videos back in May 14th. I literally was calling for a rejection up here and even shorted up here. I shorted until the point of control. We lost the point of control. Then I added to it until we got to the value area low. And if you watch the 2 weeks of these videos, as we were grinding down, I was saying we were going to continue down to 307 where that value area low was. But here's the thing. We rejected from value area high, lost point of control. So you expect to move down to value area low. We finally got the move down to value area low. I did long both this low here and this low, but I did talk about when we hit this low, it was a front run of the value area low. So we were probably going to get an SFP of that low. You guys can go watch those videos if you're interested. But now after kind of forming a sideways range and grabbing liquidity one more time of all these semi-equal lows, we were looking at actually taking out all these semi-equal lows right down here, these internal lows. And we came down, we took them out, and then we came back in the volume profile and then flipped it to support. Anyone that understands trading, you see a deviation like this of the value area low, and then you get back above it, and then you back test it as support, and it holds, you're expecting to move at least up to the point of control, which was a strong resistance. Remember, it's the anchored VWAP from the all-time high and your large range point of control. The second you get above that, you're expecting to move up to the value area high or break. But because we're breaking this 7-month bearish trend, look at this is a liquidity curve that's been building for 7 months. Shorts that have been building for 7 months. People have their stops above this high. People have their stops above this high. People have their stops above this high. People have their stops above this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So you have a liquidity trail of stops. So when you start to break this channel to the upside, you are going to see a bit of a short squeeze. It's going to go boom, stop you out, boom, stop you out, boom, stop you out, boom, 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 fuel, 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 all the way up. And not only that, because the sentiment is so bullish, you're going to see people just longing it as well, adding to the pressure. And we get this rocket to the upside. And guess what? You see this, especially on XRP. So now we have busted very, very up through our value area high. We busted up to our next major level of resistance, being that naked weekly point of control, the internal liquidity grab of the second pivot of the channel. The weekly level up here, we had a value area low of this small range. We had a lot of confluence up there. I was showing this in the all week long and a bunch. So I'm going to delete this now, but we did get the reaction there from the SFP and we got our only drop on the daily time frame. That was a very nice scalp trade. If you took that SFP short, it was a very nice scalp short trade. Now you might've got a TP1 and got stopped out, but it would still be a winning trade if you understand how to protect position. But now that we've broken above this level, we're going to be looking up to the next resistance, which was this area here. We had a, I think it was a naked weekly point of control. We had some resistance in here that we had naked weekly or naked monthly. And let's see, naked monthly, not the naked monthly. That's going to be gone now too. Okay, there was the value area high of this range. I think there was a weekly up there, something like that. But anyways, it was our next level of resistance. You can see earlier today when we came up to it, we got the rejection at first, came down to the VWAP, but we bounced from the VWAP. Now we're breaking this. This is how nice XRP's trading technically. Come up to resistance in a bullish trend, reject, you get a bit of a corrective move, taking out your local lows. Bounce from your VWAP. VWAP will act as your support in a strongly trending day. Well, today is a very strongly trending positive day. So it acts as support. We break above that level, get the SFP, very shallow SFP, which is bearish. You don't want to see a shallow SFP. You want to see a bit of a wick to actually stop out those shorts. And then guess what happens? Because we got a shallow SFP, we come down. Now we're flipping what was resistance, now acting as support. And guess what? We're continuing. And there's a very, very high probability that XRP can continue to push here. XRP can continue to push all the way up to, let's zoom out here onto the daily time frame. We could push all the way up to 428, guys, because here's the thing. After hitting into this 382, so we had our 700% pump here earlier in 2024, right? This pump in November of 2024, all the way up until January. We pumped like 700%, 700%. Then we got a multi-month corrective move hitting into our 382. So that 382, because we bounced here, we knew it was a strong bottom. It was a strong support level, strong bottom. So now from this bottom, we look for a potential impulse to the upside, another giant impulse. So this is your wave one. Now, your wave 2 often retraces to the golden pocket, right? So let's pull our Fibonacci from the lows of this move to the highs of this move. Let's turn on our golden pocket. And guess where we bounce, guys? The golden pocket. So now you should have very high probability that this thing is bullish as AF, right? Bounce from the 382. This is a nice impulsive move here, a 5-wave impulsive move. And then if you're going to correct in your wave 2, first of all, was the value area high we rejected from. So we're looking to come down to value area low. Well, value area low is in confluence with your golden pocket. So now you have a very strong hint that this is an impulse because we bounced from the 382, a wave 1 impulse. This is a wave 2 pullback because we pulled back to our golden pocket and our value area low and it held. And now you're looking for a wave 3. And so how do you measure that wave 3? You grab your trend-based Fibonacci extinction. You're going to grab your trend-based Fibonacci extinction. You're going to go from the lows of wave 1 to the highs of wave 1 to the lows of wave 2. And that is your extinction. Now, this is going to be based not on log scale. So I actually would be, for me, more conservatively, I would use this target. Your wave 3 target could end at 359 pretty much, 3.59. Now, if you're using it based off log scale, and we are on log scale, there's a potential your wave 3 could end all the way at 428. But I am more conservative in my estimates and my thing. So I'm going to say this is wave 1, this is wave 2. Clearly, this is a wave 3. Look at that straight up so far. And if you turn on your volume, you want to see a nice spike in volume. Well, look at that spike in volume we're seeing. Okay, so that looks like a wave 3 to me. And so it's a very, very high likelihood that we continue up to 359, 358.94, or I'm going to say 359. So we're going to continue up to 359. Now, once we hit up here, if we do reject, you could look for a wave 4 pullback. You're going to want to see a 3-wave corrective move. And in that 3-wave corrective move, you're going to pull your Fibonacci from the lows of wave 3 to the highs. Now, so I'm just going to put it right on that 1.618. Let's just put it right there. And let's put on our wave 4 targets. So you're going to be correcting. If we reject exactly from the 1.618, we're going to look for a 3-wave corrective move. Let me get rid of this too. We're going to look for a 3-wave corrective move. No, not that. Sorry. This guy. All right. To come down, say we continue up here, we're going to look for a 3-wave corrective move to come down either to the 382 or to that 0.5. And I do already see, let's just mark this out. I don't know if I have this marked out already, but let's mark out our new daily support level right there, right? You have your daily support level at 292 near the 382. So I think it's a very high probability that XRP continues pumping to 359. There is a potential we reject from 359 and then we rotate down over a week or 2 weeks or, you know, whatever, to 292 to 295, that area of support. If we bounce from there, you're going to be expecting one last 5th wave, and we can actually measure the targets of that 5th wave based off of this corrective move, but we have to wait for that to happen. We can keep me updated on the charts, keep asking about XRP, and we'll keep covering all this as we go, guys. But I'm going to be doing live stream 3 times a week. I'm going to do my best to walk you through everything that's happening in the markets to the best of my ability. And we've been making great trades in this bull market so far. Great profits in this bull market. It's been really, really awesome. And now, especially since I'm streaming, I do tend to hold myself more accountable because I want to be responsible for you guys as well. And now that I have a Telegram group, we are going to be really looking at diving into this, you know, all different kinds of trades. So anyways, that's about it for XRP. Let's go into, thank you, Dutch, for posting those, Mark. Link and CRV. So Link here, Chainlink, I think we're coming up to $18. Short answer, we're coming up to $18. We have our anchored VWAP from our cycle highs and the SFP of our last big push. And this push here does look like it's an impulsive wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have your 5-wave impulse. You got your corrective move here. Now, the thing is that corrective move came to the 886, which is very unlikely. It's very rare, I should say. But now we look to be pushing up pretty aggressively in a, you know, that double 1-2 or triple 1-2 again. pushing up. We're in our third wave. So I think our third wave could bring us up to 18. We could get an SFP there. We could see a bit of a 4.5 to come up to the value area high at 20. But XRP is finding its bottoming formation here of this range. You can see we had a pretty aggressive dump here. It bottomed out, and since then we've kind of been going sideways. So this is our sideways relevant range that we're looking at. Now, after, bouncing, we bounced from our macro value area low. Now, this range goes all the way back to November of 2023. This is our larger range in XRP, or not XRP, Chainlink, right? Big range. So we have a big range to be looking at that's a couple years long, and then we have our bottom accumulation range from like this last year. So we came down to the macro value area low. We bounced from the macro value area low, kind of grinded our way up, and we didn't even hit the point of control once. We busted straight through it here, which is a good sign. And then we're also busting our lower range value area high. Actually, we back tested that too. We busted above it. We back tested it. That daily at 15.1 last week, we were looking at that 15.3 to 15.1 to look for longs locally, for scalp longs, and we're breaking above. So long story short, we're breaking above the key value area high of our smaller range, and we're breaking above the point of control of our larger range. And now we have a high likelihood to at least come up to take out these highs where the anchored VWAP is. Let's turn on some of our levels here. Let's turn on our monthlies. So we don't have any monthlies up there. We have a weekly at 18.7. And in yesterday's video, I talked to you guys about this. We actually have 3 levels we're looking at. So we have a weekly up here. We have $18, 18.7, and 20. Those are the 3 resistances above that I'm looking at, because we have a weekly at 18.7, but we also have a, not dailies. We're about to hit into a daily right now, guys. And this daily we cracked through. But we could find a little bit, we could stall out a little bit at 17.39, but I do think a high likelihood overall is to come up to 18. It might take a couple days to get up there, but naked. So we have weeklies up there at 18.7. Then we have naked monthly point of control on top of it, a fresh naked monthly point of control. So right there, naked monthly point of controls are very strong. In confluence with the weekly, that's your, okay, resistance 1, $18, being the anchored VWAP and the SFP. Resistance 2, 18.7. Naked monthly point of control, weekly level. I do believe there's a naked weekly point of control as well there. Yeah, naked weekly. Okay, so at $18, we have our naked weekly point of control in confluence with the anchored VWAP from the cycle highs and a liquidity grab. That's why $18 is good. 18.7, naked monthly and a weekly. And then, of course, 20 is the value area high of the range, and we have internal highs up here. So that's that. Archie, to join the Telegram, so the Telegram group is free, but in order to join, you have to use my affiliate link for BYDFI, and you deposit $100 of your own money. You get to trade with it. It's your money. And then you get, let me bring this up real quick for you guys. So join the Telegram group, or you sign up using this link. It's in the description, this community link for BYDFI. And if you deposit $100, first of all, they're going to give you a 50% deposit bonus on your money. That's a really high deposit bonus. So you can see here, if you deposit $100, you get $50 for free, and you get 17% discount on your trading fees. So that, and then once you've signed up for that account, then you can go into the Telegram group, join the Telegram group, and then you just post your user ID number with the verify. You use the /verify UID, and then it will get you in there. And yeah, that's all in the video description and everything. So, but I think it's a win-win for everyone, because first of all, you guys get 17% off your discount off your trading fees. You get a $50 deposit bonus, which is 50% of what you deposited. That's a really high deposit bonus. And you can earn money on futures trading depending on how much money you move. Now, $100 is probably not going to be enough for anything substantial. But, you know, I think it's great because it's a win-win for everyone. And overall, it's free. You know, you're just depositing your own money and trading with your own money on that certain exchange. Okay, let's get back here. So yeah, $18, 18.7, and then 20. Now, if we drop to the downside, that value area high that I just deleted, that I just hid, is going to be your support level that you're going to want to hold at this general area of 15.5. You're really going to want to hold that area as support. If you lose 15.5, then this is your box you're looking at. It is 14.3 to 14.1, which it's the point of control of the range, the anchored VWAP, and I believe there was something else in there. It was a golden pocket or something, which is going to be changed now that we've made new highs. But that's your general area. Where's the link to the Telegram? It's in the description. In the comments. You press the link and it says access denied. There should not be any VPN. You do not need a VPN to click on it. That's interesting. I don't know why that link. Let me check something here, guys. Upload defaults. I'm just going to try this link here. Okay, it should be working. When I use it, it brings me to Telegram and it's the verify, and then it says Divine Hood Trading, 9 members. So I'm not sure why it's giving you access tonight. Now, if you're actually trying to talk, you have to verify your user ID before. So that means you have to deposit the $100 and then do the step 4. Do step 4 of that. You come in and you verify your account by sending the following command, /verify, and then whatever your user ID number is. And then once you verify it, you'll get access to it. Okay. So Chainlink, and then, and Mark, I really appreciate you keeping track of the alts that I'm looking at. Like, thank you so much for doing that. That makes it so easy for me. CRV. Okay, guys, I made a really good trade on CRV the last couple days too. But CRV, so once again, guys, as far as macro goes, this does look like it's shaping up to be a wave 3. And we had our multi-month correction on the daily time frame, found a bottom, changed market structure bullishly, right? You took out your local highs just barely, but you took them out. You made a higher low. And now we pushed up. So this does look impulsive here. And then after that impulse on the daily finishes, by the way, look at this here. This is called an accumulation pattern, or a lot of pattern traders will call it an inverse head and shoulder. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? Your inverse head and shoulders pattern is a bottoming reversal pattern. And then you expect it to break out and you expect it to continue. But if you're a Wyckoff minded trader, you're looking at this as model 2 accumulation. Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3 into your golden pocket. You have your accumulation zone. Then once you break it, you get your expansion. And then we got a bit of a correction before continuing expansion up, right? So we had our accumulation. Now on this drop that we saw here over from the end of May to June 6th, June 7th here, you can see that if we pull a Fibonacci, and guys, this is why it's important if you're on the log scale charts, which you generally want to be on log scale if you're looking at high volatility, large moves. But if you pull your Fibonacci from the lows, the last daily lows to the daily high, you turn on your golden pocket and you're going to say, wait, we broke the golden pocket by a lot. Look at the golden pocket's coming in way up here. But once again, guys, take your measuring tool and measure from the bottom of that move to the top of that move. It's 148% pump. So because that's over 100% pump to the upside, you're going to take that fib, you're going to come in here and you're going to click based off log scale. Now, once you have your fib in the correct area, look at what happened. We pushed up in an impulse. We came down to a lower high golden pocket, or a higher low, excuse me, golden pocket, bounced and formed a bottom on the daily time frame, a week down here, exactly into the golden pocket, and wave 3, explosion to the upside, right? So, yeah, and we're hitting into our daily right now. I was looking at this daily level, hitting into this daily right now. Let me actually check to see if I took profit here. Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. Jesus, that's awesome. All right. I just made a lot of money on that trade. But here's the thing, guys. A couple days ago, we were talking about this. Let's pull this range. So this upper range, this whole section here is an upper range, right? We're looking at this guy here. So now we're breaking above the value area high of that range. And this does look very impulsive to me. Oops. This looks very impulsive to me. We bounced from the macro golden pocket. So that right there tells me, didn't mean to do that. That right there tells me that we can expect the bullish momentum to continue. So, you know, boom, bounce from the golden pocket. I'm looking at least for an ABC. Even in a bearish scenario, you're probably looking for a big ABC. But so we're going to go from the lows to the highs to the lows. And if it's a wave 3, we're looking for it to come all the way up to 132 possibly. And actually, we can even click that based off log scale. Your conservative target is 132, but your log scale target is 213. Now, yes, could we make it up there? Absolutely, we could. You know, on this pump in one single, you know, it would take a couple weeks to get up there, but we could go all the way like this up to here, bounce, and then, you know, and this is a key support resistance flip as well of a much bigger bottoming pattern. So if Curve is really about to take off because of this stable coin bill, you can see we have kind of this bottoming formation in this general area. And what we could see is, you know, a push all the way up to 618, flipping these key highs and this key support resistance flip. You see how that's a key support resistance flip on the weekly. Support, 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 lost it, resistance, and then resistance again kind of up here. So there's a potential that we could bust all the way up to 213 and then rotate back down to 158, 155, I mean, and then continue pushing up in an impulse. Now that I don't like to be that bullish. You know, yes, it's possible that it happens, but I'm going to be more conservative with it, and I'm going to go with this target, 132. There's a potential that Curve could push up to 132 in the next week or so in this impulse here that we're seeing. And at the rate it's going, shit, it could be there later tonight, you know? But, you know, the stablecoin bill, we know Curve is like liquidity and loans and stuff like that. So absolutely, there's a potential that Curve could continue pushing up here. Hold on, guys. I'm going to take some profit on this right now. Okay. Because we are hitting into our resistance, our daily level. We broke above the value area high. So if we do see a rejection here, I do think that we are probably going to continue up to like at least your weekly at 120. We do have our 786 coming in at 112. That to me is a little bit interesting only because we have these two internal highs right there. So we do have some liquidity into that 786 at 112. But I do think... let me check something here. Let's go to the weekly chart. Okay, let's go to the monthly. Yeah, we have a daily at 108. But I really would be looking to come up, honestly, an SFP of these highs into your 1.618. Like you can see, these highs right here are pretty much right at that 1.618. So if we did something like this and just came a little bit higher than that 1.618 SFP, but like closed the candle body like there, and then we kind of saw a little bit of a retrace, you know, that would probably be the coolest thing, the most ideal thing to see is taking the SFP, those highs. But I mean, look at this. This thing is bullish, and we are pushing on money flow on the daily. 2-day money flow is in the green, rising nicely. 8-hour money flow, super bullish looking. We have actually now invalidated the bear divs on the 8-hour. Invalidated the bear divs on the 8-hour. The 4-hour here. Okay, 4-hour is pretty much invalidated the bear divs as well. Money flow looks super bullish here. Honestly, this thing, I just did take some resistance because we are at resistance, and my plan was to take resistance at this daily. So I just took 50% out of what I had left on this long trade. But if we get pullbacks, specifically to this monthly at 89 cents, 86 to 89, I will look to add like crazy. Boom, and then up to 132. I think overall, this thing is going to continue pumping here. But be careful, because this is such a crazy parabolic curve. When this pump ends and when the market structure finally shifts, you could get a quick flush because of it. But overall, this thing is looking really nice. And I do think that we have a higher potential going up. Let's look at our 1 hour here. 1 hour. Yeah, money flows curving back up again. Yes, we do have multiple drives of bear div here. You know, or at least locally, bear div here. But that money flow is going to overpower that bear div. It looks just good to me. I mean, yeah, guys, I think it's going to continue. And that 786 is interesting because that liquidity. But honestly, the next really big level I'm interested in is the weekly at 120. But 132 is, I think we're coming up there. Let's look at our naked monthly points of controls, because I do think there's... Okay, a naked monthly. Okay, yeah, 112 is the next major level, guys. So we do have a naked monthly and that 786 up there. So actually, I think now that is probably... Those naked monthlies are very, very powerful levels. And we also have our big 786 Fibonacci there. Right on top of that naked monthly and the liquidity grab. So 112.6. Next big area. If we break 104, we're coming up to 112.6. Let me get rid of that. And then if we break that, 120, 132. Overall, this thing is looking super strong. I mean, Jesus, I am so glad I longed this yesterday. Not yesterday, 2 days ago. Breaking the value area high. Okay, Andrew, what's up, man? It's good to see you. ETH alive long from 3186. Okay, my dog. Let's go. Paper Beats Rock. Thank you for that comment, man. I'm really happy. Helpful view and been key in my development as a trader. Still the only guy I see teaching the Pitchfork way. Yeah, man. I honestly, the Pitchfork tool was there obviously before me, but I developed a lot of teachings on the Pitchfork myself. Just knowing how market works. I've been in the market for 6 or 7 years now, and knowing how market makers work, how the market moves, and how key pivots and liquidity run the market. So from that, and seeing how well Pitchforks are respected, I really have just joined, I just made my own way of doing Pitchfork trading, and it's really, really worked out for me, man. Okay, BYDFI isn't allowed in the UK. Oh, no, man, I'm sorry. Jesus Save 77, you're welcome, man, and thank you for joining. Archie TV, I will ask BYDFI about that. I'm partnered with them, so I'll ask them about joining the Telegram if you can't get in because of your... Now, you could use a VPN. They say no VPN required, but if you do use a VPN and, maybe now you're in the US according to your IP, maybe you could use it then. I don't know. Yeah, VPNs are very cheap, like $1, $2 a month, and then it will, but I'm not telling you to do that because I don't think legally I'm allowed to. I'm just saying that they're out there. Yeah, nothing like having a breakout. No joke, dude. Look at how nice that is, man. Really, really awesome. No, it's not Jason's Discord. Jason's Discord is also in there because I was at one point going to become a coach for him, but decided, I'm doing my own thing, so Quiles, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I really do appreciate that. And yes, please subscribe, guys. Please like the video. If you got anything out of this video, if I taught you anything or give you any insight at all, I would really appreciate it if you do like the video. I'm trying to grow the channel, get more content out there, so I will be doing that as well. Bitcoin back above 120. Okay, let's check Bitcoin real quick here. Crypto manipulation trader, we did look at Sui. Sui, I think it's going to come up to 430 up to 441 to 445. You know, we're breaking out of this descending trend channel. We bounced from a higher low golden pocket, and I think it has a very high probability of continuing up to the value area high. We also have a naked weekly point of control between 441 and 445. Now, watch out for the liquidity grab at 430, but I do think we're going to overall continue pushing up to 445. We could see a bit of a range, a bit more of a range in here for a bit longer before we do, and maybe even a drop down to take out your lows at 381 too. But I do think we're going to continue up there overall. Bitcoin, guys, Bitcoin. Let's check out Bitcoin. Because remember, at the beginning of the stream, we talked about we actually want to see Bitcoin hit that golden pocket. We still haven't hit the golden pocket. But I'm looking for Bitcoin to come up to the golden pocket 786 area. You know, we're looking for a potential three-wave corrective move down to 115.2. So if we get that three-wave corrective move down to 115.2, take out the lows of your range, push up. Because overall Bitcoin is still in a bullish structure, and we're expecting more all-time highs, new upside, more all-time highs. 1 2 1 2, your big 3, 4 5 4 5. You know, that's what I'm expecting overall on Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks. And while Bitcoin does that slow, grindy channel towards the end, altcoins are going to do this. You know, XRP, Curve, ETH, you know, all these yeah, XRP is taking the highs. Yes. Okay, guys, remember XRP coming up to, what was that? 359. I actually am going to set a TP there right now. Just and I am getting towards, you guys, I do got to get going soon. I got some other stuff I got to get to do today, but I will be live tomorrow as well, 3 p.m. Eastern time, same place. Yeah, if you're interested in joining, come join. Let's see, 3.59. Confirm. Okay, cool. Got that set. And thank you guys so much all for joining. I appreciate your kind comments. I appreciate your super chats. Mark Dutch, I super appreciate you and always letting people know to like and subscribe and organizing those coins for me. Best mod in the game for sure. Thank you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.